Governor, in recent years, Connecticut has had varying degrees of success in reforming ethics conduct and trying to stop influence peddling and campaign contributions. Are you committed to changing not only the rules but also the culture? And how would you reduce the undue influence of big lobbying firms, a handful of politically connected lawyers, and big construction companies?
Governor Rell, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. I pride myself on being the only governor in the history of the state of Connecticut to not take special interest money to fund my campaign. We started in Connecticut passing the most comprehensive campaign finance law in the nation. And I will tell you that I brought the legislators to the table kicking and screaming because many of them simply didn't want to do that. But it was an important measure, and we are now a role model for the rest of the nation. And I'm abiding by those rules, even though that law does not take effect until 2010 for the next gubernatorial race. When we start taking the money influence out of politics, then you'll also be able to take it out of the contracting business in the state. They won't have the leg to stand on to be able to get their foot in that door.
Mayor DeStefano, 2 minutes.
The governor recited something that's just fiction. The fact is, the reason why we had campaign finance reform is because her predecessor, who she ran with 3 times, ended up in federal prison. And there was a demand for campaign finance reform, and the governor, after a career of opposing public financing, came on board because the name on the door changed. And the governor set rules about not accepting lobbyist money and state contractor for herself, which, as the Hartford Courant has reported, she subsequently violated. And when the governor had a chance to clean house after John Rowland left office, she interviewed 60 commissioners and deputy commissioners. She kept all but 5 of them. And then the governor used her chief of staff, used the office to bring the commissioners of government, the ones that she retained in, to solicit campaign contributions on behalf of the governor's re-election campaign in direct violation of the law. 16 commissioners, more than in the history of the state, were fined. That didn't occur under John Rowland's administration. It occurred under the governor's administration. And further, the person involved, rather than removing the problem from the payroll, kept her chief of staff on the payroll because her commitment, the governor's commitment to ethics, has limits. And there are other kinds of ethics too. Where are the ethics in having 75,000 children in this state without health care? Where are the ethics in forcing seniors out of their home because of the governor's insistence to cut auto taxes instead of their house taxes? Where's the ethics in this administration when they were by law required to disclose electric utility rate increases on October 1 and still hasn't done it? Frankly, there are all kinds of ethics that need attention.
Thank you. Governor Rell, 30 seconds.
I think, again, Morgan, to get directly to your question, we need to remove the influence of either special interests, whether you call them lobbyists, whether you call them contractors, or whatever else you may wish to call them. If they do not donate to political campaigns, that will be the first step in making sure that they don't have that undue influence. I think it's high time that we continue to work in that vein. I would also point out, as I had said earlier, I am the only governor in this race, this governor's race, who is not accepting that special interest money. That is a step forward that we have never seen in this state before.
Thank you. Mayor DeStefano, another 30 seconds.
Again, not to be argumentative, if the governor was committed to this, the chief of staff who solicited money from the state's commissioners to go back to their offices and ask state employees to contribute to the governor's campaign would have been removed from the payroll. I'll run an honest administration. It'll be transparent. I won't keep my problems on the payroll as Governor Rell has.